Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Azure Seas of Niter, obviously. I am the Heizmeister, and this is finally it. The first episode of the construction of this amphibious ship that I mentioned in the poll. Yeah, I finally found the time to record. Now then, this is how it's going to be. I thought that I would approach this whole construction of the amphibious ship a bit more methodically than I have done my construction videos in the past. We will first concern ourselves with the propulsion systems and, more importantly, the way how this ship is going to transition from a seafaring mode into a hover mode once it approaches the coast and goes on land. And we will also have a look at various propulsion systems, their advantages and disadvantages concerning this little project, especially when it comes to effectiveness in and out of water. And then we will have a look at the power plant that's going to supply the engine power for this vessel. And lastly, for this episode, we will then concern ourselves with the weapon systems. I was thinking of the main weapons and the Seavis probably for this. I have planned to make this amphibious ship about light cruiser to cruiser sized. At least what counts as light cruiser for me. Yeah, that's it for this episode, at least I've planned so far. After this planning phase, we will then move into the prototyping phase. This will probably be in the next episode, which will see the construction of a very small prototype vessel that will basically just be a test bed for the transitioning mode from seafaring mode into hover mode, and basically is a way for me to test out the AI settings and how to control the transition between water and hover mode. And after that, probably in another episode, I will then construct the final product. So, everything has been laid out. Let's get right into it and begin with having a look at various propulsion systems, which may or may not be installed on this amphibious ship. Alright, here is an assortment of propulsion methods. They are arranged from great efficiency in the atmosphere to great efficiency underwater. And here in the middle are systems which work in both areas, but they do have some drawbacks. I will not be using these jet engines here as a method of propulsion for things underwater. They simply don't work. Same with these custom jet engines. They are, however, a very great method to keep the ship aloft once it has transitioned into hover mode. And even here with these custom jet engines, once the hull is out of the water, I thought to myself that maybe these could be the main propulsion method for the ship and take over from, say, for example, propellers. Here, these ship propellers that would normally ship when it is in water mode. I even thought so far as to hitting them with a generator and then having the generator go for 100% of thrust usage when they are in water mode, so that the power plant that this ship will use has a bit of a supplement attached to it. However, this is going to be difficult, because if this intake or the jet controller is submerged underwater, the jet engine will stop working and so will the generator. So yeah, it's a bit iffy. And then we have this. This is the propeller. this new custom propeller, which provides the same thrust in atmosphere and underwater. However, it needs clearance to work properly, otherwise its efficiency is greatly reduced, which makes it not exactly suitable for my purposes, since I plan to fully cover these propulsion methods with armor and have them integrated into the ship's hull. So I'm afraid we won't be using any of these custom propellers. Now we have reached an area where the method of propulsion actually works in both mediums, in the air and in water, and even in space. Ion drives are great in space. However, their efficiency diminishes greatly when they are in the atmosphere, even more so when they are underwater, so I won't be using those. Same goes for the steam jets. While they are fairly powerful and can propel a ship underwater or in water and in atmosphere, they are also horribly inefficient and will burn through materials like there's no tomorrow. And also, they cost 10 times as much as this little jet engine here. Well, of course, providing a lot more thrust, but still. Not exactly worth it. And I think this area here is self-explanatory. For underwater propulsion, I will of course use these propellers. So, the final verdict is that I will use these propulsion methods. I will have the ship's propulsion methods being split into an air mode and a water mode. There is unfortunately no way around it other than using very inefficient methods. And no, I'm not going to use wheels when going on land. I said it before, we are going to make a ship that hovers. Yeah. So, jet engines and propellers. What do these have in common? Well, I'm fairly certain this will ease the search for a suitable power plant quite a bit. So, regarding the power plant, I have selected to use fuel engines for this, for various reasons. One is that fuel engines provide engine power on demand and can be throttled down or up as the power consumption varies. And the fuel engines will also provide engine power for both systems equally, well, save for these custom jet engines. And another reason is that I don't feel so competent building rather well-built steam engines. So I'll stick with my fuel engines for now. Okay, so I have laid out 3 possibilities for main guns for this experimental hover ship. Also, please ignore the pole armor here on the turret neck on this one. I wasn't myself when I built this. Anyway, this one I have taken from the adventure carrier, if you can still remember this one. This one is rail assisted, which makes this turret a little bit more expensive than the other contenders here. And it fires kinetic rounds. Here you see them. Just an armor-piercing cap, sabot, kinetic, filler, and a tracer. And it does so at a reasonable rate of fire. Yeah, I'd say it's fairly decent. Medium caliber at 270mm, and you can see the stats here. So, in the second slot here, we have this little thing I put out of the Tremonia cruiser back there in the distance. This is a fairly simple gun, medium caliber as well, here 300mm, firing hash rounds. Also a reasonable rate of fire. a multi-purpose gun. As I said, hash can rarely go wrong with hash. The problem is, however, these autoloaders do not have any ejectors, which means if this gun gets hit, then it will explode in quite a spectacular manner. Might be a problem. As I said, each of these have their own strengths and weaknesses. So high volume of fire, but rather volatile. Then, last but certainly not least, a higher gauge gun, 375mm, slow firing 6 meter autoloaders. This is AP Heat, a gun I extracted from one of my cruisers. And let's test this one. There you see, the rate of fire is much slower than the other contenders there. But still not so slow that I would say this is more of a battleship gun. You don't have to wait that long between two reloads for the gun to fire. And also I've attached some ejectors to this as added safety feature. So, the question is, which gun should I use? And the choice of this gun will also determine the role of this amphibious ship. By the way, all of these rounds are equipped with tracers to offset the inaccuracy penalty that will occur when this ship inevitably goes mobile and into hover mode, and thus gains a lot of instability. Yeah, what to do, what to do. So, I'd say after giving it some thought, the final verdict is I'm going to use this modified kinetic gun from the adventure carrier. Modified in a way that I have removed all the railgun components. I said I have removed all the railgun components, there we go, making it significantly cheaper. It is about, it costs about 56,000 resources for one of these, which is cheaper than the 75,000 I would have paid if I would have stuck with railgun components. Now, the firepower has been reduced quite a bit. You see here the shell velocity is much lower now. However, I am prepared to take that hit if it means having a fast-firing, reliable kinetic gun on my ship. So, next on my to-do list is to choose the Seabus for this one. So, as for a Seabus, I will most likely use this one I initially installed on the Propulsion adaptive drone carrier. Although it will not quite look like this, as I will try to keep the overall height of this amphibious hovership down a bit. For reasons I wish to explain once we build the small prototype to test out the AI settings and the transitioning system from water to hover mode. So, this is it for this episode. Yeah, we have planned all the systems. I know exactly what I would like to install in this one, and I'll probably just need to refit this Seabus gun a little bit once the hovership has been built. However, I do not want to leave this episode without at least showing a bit of a battle, so that doesn't get too boring. So, I have prepared a little something in the background. So, to end this little episode with a battle, here is the ship you've seen at the beginning, my battle cruiser Constantia, very much a glass cannon, equipped with 15 cram cannons in triple-barreled turrets, and these are all equipped with 3D cram tetras. This is the price of this little thing here. It's not too expensive, but its armor isn't worth a damn. It is very much a glass cannon. And on the opposing side we have none other than the new crossbones, equipped with sievers and very, very deadly crams, which have also been improved with 3D Tetris. And this is the price of the crossbones. Both ships are roughly in the same price range. Now watch the Constantia get blown to pieces. Oh, maybe. Alright, Ripple Fire crams out and already received a hit. Yeah, I have changed the Constantia's gun from volley fire to ripple fire, by the way, for various reasons. They are better at overcoming flak sievers, so the bunched up shots don't get taken out by one or two close explosions. Which means, however, that kinetic sievers will be a little bit better against these types of firing modes, as they can pick off one shell after another with these high damaging kinetic shells. Here comes the next barrage and taking out a gun that has already been taken out. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense, does it? And please note that the crossbone sievers is constantly firing at the Constantia as well during its downtimes, which may or may not damage shells that have just left the barrel. Yeah, the Constantia is one of my older designs, and it has also not fared well during the rounds of updates that have come in over the years. She's still kicking then, and still fighting though. Though even she will get a complete refit at some point. Maybe, possibly. Yeah, the new cramps, the new crossbones cramps are very, very potent, I have to say. This kinetic, high explosive combination, and with a little bit of frag mixed in, and all seasoned nicely with a little bit of 3D Tetris, makes for a rather spicy arrangement. Ach yeah, I miss these battles. It is high time that I dive into a campaign once again. Oh, speaking of campaign, by the way, I am still working on my custom campaign. Although I am reluctant to finish just yet, because I don't know if there are any improvements or updates to the world editor planned yet. I might have to ask the devs for this one. Because I would very much like to see some improvements, and the world editor is, or could be, a very powerful tool. Oh, there we go, another salvo out, but the cram firepower of the Constantia has been reduced by quite a lot. And it doesn't help either when the shots that she fires aren't missing. And here comes another one. Yeah, okay, we did it. Very nice. Now, you see here the Constantia has received extensive damage in this engagement against the crossbones. And as I said before, her armor isn't worth a damn. She is pretty much a battle cruiser. Most of the material cost of her is put into her firepower, these cram cannons, and some active defenses which are only there to improve her overall defense by a little bit, but not much. Right. I would like to have another opponent, please, and then we can call it a day. Now then, how about we fight against something else entirely? Also within the same price range as the Constantia and the crossbones, this is the Bulwark, bristling with cram cannons, And I don't know if you've done this before, but if you set up the new crossbones and the bulwark in the designer and let them fight each other, the crossbones will always come out on top. Very nice, isn't it? Yeah, the deep water guard has certainly received a power boost in the last updates. Here we go. Ouch. Yeah, that hurt. Oh, by the way, despite what you might think, the seawalls back there isn't just for decoration. It is merely to intercept anything that isn't exactly outside of its very limited field of fire. Although it doesn't do a great job at this most of the time. Yeah, the Constantia needs a refit. I may have mentioned this at some point. Also, torpedoes. The bulwark has very large torpedoes, which are slow, but they will eventually catch up to Constantia if she doesn't do anything against those. Good hit, good hit. And looks like we have disabled one of the bulwark's main turrets so far. And it is still closing in. There goes another one. Still facing us head-on and firing off a salvo, which is also a salvo of armor-piercing high explosive cramps that do hurt a lot. You can see here we have lost quite a lot of firepower. That hurt. So, if we could land a good enough hit, we could maybe disable one of these cannons here, or these gun turrets. This will require us to land a hit in the first place, though. Oh, here comes it. Ouch. Yeah. Nice hold you got there. Well, the forward turrets are basically all destroyed. One of them is no longer operational. Only the rearward turrets are firing now. And just received another barrage from the bulwark. At least we intercepted those cram shells. Oh, incoming! No, not the rear turrets! Those were the ones that were still functional. Yeah, let me take you for a moment inside the ship. This was once a cram turret. Now it's just an assortment of cram components that serve no purpose anymore. Ach yeah. To think that I once built the Constantia to essentially beat the bulwark on its own playing field. Oh, how the times have changed. How the times have changed indeed. Now, the bulwark isn't feeling so great either. And we are still firing, but I think this is going to take quite a while. So I won't bore you with this slowly progressing fight any longer. And I won't spoil the ending of this battle, although it should become very obvious. So let's call it a draw. I am the Heizmeister, and I hope I'll see you next time on the azure seas of Nita, when we will construct a tiny little prototype that will help us refine this transitioning system which will make a vessel transition from water mode to hover mode and back again using AI, breadboard and the various components that we've seen today. Anyway, take care and goodbye. Not the face!